Tay was 8 years old when he learned that the universe was full of terrible things. But he also learned that sometimes terrible things come in small packages. And sometimes those small packages sleep at the foot of your bed. The colony world of New Bizen was a quiet place. It sat on the edge of human space, far from the busy trade routes and military stations. The people there were farmers, scientists, and families who wanted a simple life under an orange sky. Tay's family was one of them. His mother Yuna spent her days studying the local plants. She wanted to find out which ones humans could eat and which ones would make them sick. His father Juan used to be an engineer in the military, but now he fixed broken machines for the colonists. His older sister Nari was 14 and thought she knew everything. Tay thought she was annoying, but he loved her anyway. And then there was Baduk. Baduk was a honey badger. He was about the size of a small dog, with thick gray fur on his back and black fur on his belly. His face had a white stripe that made him look like he was always frowning. He probably was. Honey badgers were not known for being friendly. Juan had given Baduk to Tay on his 7th birthday. The animal had been rescued from criminals who were selling exotic earth creatures to rich collectors. Most of the animals went to zoos or nature reserves, but Baduk was different. He had bitten 3 handlers and escaped his cage twice. Nobody wanted him. He just needs someone to love him, Juan had said with a smile. Yuna had not smiled. That thing is going to eat our son. But Baduk did not eat Tay. Instead, something strange happened. The angry little creature looked at the small boy, sniffed his hand, and decided that this human belonged to him. From that day on, Baduk followed Tay everywhere. He slept in Tay's room. He sat under the table when Tay ate breakfast. He walked beside Tay when the boy explored the fields near their home. The other colonists thought it was funny. "That boy has a monster for a pet," they would say. And they were not wrong. Honey badgers were famous on Earth for being the most fearless animals alive. They fought lions. They ate poisonous snakes. They broke into beehives and let the bees sting them hundreds of times just to get the honey. They simply did not care. Tay did not think Baduk was a monster. He thought Baduk was his best friend. What Tay did not know was that someone was watching him. Far above New Bizen, hidden behind the colony's small moon, a ship floated in the darkness. It was not a human ship. The creatures inside it were called the Velki, and they had come to steal children. The Velki were traders. They bought and sold living things across the galaxy. Workers, servants, pets. They did not care what they sold, as long as someone would pay. And lately, someone was paying very well for humans. Human children were especially valuable. They were smart, they learned fast, and they could adapt to almost anything. Rich collectors on distant worlds wanted them. The Velki were happy to provide. Rosk was the leader of the team. He was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were large and black, and they saw everything. He had stolen children from 12 different species, and he had never failed. This mission would be easy. "The target is a young male," Rosk said to his team. 8 years old. Lives on the edge of the settlement with his family. Father is former military, but old. Mother is a scientist. 1 older sibling. They have basic security. Nothing we cannot handle. Pela was younger than Rosk and much more nervous. He looked at the images on the screen. The human child was small and soft-looking, easy to carry. But something else caught his attention. "What is that animal?" Pela asked. He pointed at the furry creature walking beside the boy. Rosk barely looked. "Some kind of earth pet? Probably a comfort animal. We will remove it during extraction. Should we not research it? Earth has dangerous creatures." Rosk made a sound that was like a laugh. "Look at it. It weighs maybe 12 of their kilograms. It has no claws worth mentioning, no venom, no size. Earth is dangerous creatures. Yes. Large cats, bears, wolves. This is none of those things. It is a toy. Pela was not so sure, but he said nothing more. Rosk was the expert. Rosk was always right. Dron was the pilot. He kept the ship hidden and watched the colony's patrol patterns. Security response time is 14 minutes, he reported. We will be gone in 5. No problems. Rosk nodded. We move tomorrow night. Rest now. This will be simple. And so the Velki prepared for their mission. They checked their equipment. They studied the house layout. They practiced their approach. Everything was perfect. They did not study the animal. On New Bizin, Tay played in the fields as the orange sun began to set. Baduk ran beside him, chasing insects and digging holes. The honey badger found a snake hiding in the grass. It was not a dangerous snake, but Baduk killed it anyway. He always killed snakes. It was what honey badgers did. Baduk, come on. Tay called. Mom says dinner is ready. The honey badger looked up from his dead snake. He sniffed the air once, twice. Something smelled wrong. Something far away in the sky. He did not know what it was, but he did not like it. Baduk growled softly, then followed his boy home. That night, Tay went to bed early. He was tired from playing all day. Baduk curled up at the foot of his bed, like he always did. The honey badger's eyes stayed open for a long time, watching the window, watching the shadows. He did not know that danger was coming, but he did not need to know. Honey badgers did not need reasons to fight. They just needed something to fight. And tomorrow night, something would come. Tay slept peacefully, dreaming of adventures in the orange fields. Baduk did not sleep. He waited. He watched. He was ready. The Velki thought they were the hunters. They thought the child was helpless. They thought the small furry creature was nothing. They were very, very wrong. The next night came quickly. The orange sun set behind the mountains, and darkness spread across New Bizin like a blanket. The colonists finished their work and went to their homes. Lights turned off one by one. The world became quiet. In their hidden ship, the Velki prepared. Rosk checked his equipment one final time. He had a stun weapon that could knock out any creature up to 500 kilograms. He had a phase device that could let him walk through walls. He had sedatives, restraints, and a capture bag. Everything a professional child thief needed. Pela, you will enter through the child's window, Rosk ordered. Sedate him and bring him out. I will wait outside as backup. Dron will keep the shovel ready. We will be gone before anyone wakes up. Pela nodded, but his 4 hands were shaking. This was only his 3rd mission. He did not like stealing children, but the pay was good. And Rosk said it was safe. The Velki shuttle dropped silently from the sky. It landed 2 kilometers from the homestead, in a small valley where no one could see it. The 3 aliens walked through the darkness toward their target. The night was cool and quiet. Small insects made soft sounds in the grass. A gentle wind moved through the trees. It was peaceful. Pel. He thought about what he was doing. He was about to take a child from his family. A small boy who had done nothing wrong. But he pushed the thought away. This was his job. He would do it and leave. They reached the homestead. It was a simple building made of local stone and imported metal. Warm light came from one window, the family room. Rosk looked through and saw the adults watching something on a screen. The older girl was in her own room, reading. The young boy was asleep. Perfect, Rosk whispered. Begin. Pela moved to the boy's window. He activated his phase device. The machine hummed softly, and the wall became like water. Pela stepped through it and entered the room. The room was small and simple. There were toys on the floor, pictures on the walls, a small desk with books, and a bed where a young human boy slept peacefully. Pela moved closer. He reached for his sedative injector. Just one quick touch, and the boy would sleep deeply for hours. Then he could carry him out, and this would all be over. He did not see the eyes watching him from the darkness. Baduk was awake. He had been awake for hours. Something had felt wrong all day. The air smelled strange. The shadows seemed too dark. And now, a creature had walked through the wall of his boy's room. The honey badger did not make a sound. He did not growl. He did not warn. Warning was for animals that wanted to scare enemies away. Honey badgers did not want to scare enemies away. They wanted to hurt them. Baduk launched himself from the foot of the bed. 12 kilograms of muscle, claws, and teeth flew through the air like a furry missile. He hit Pela in the face before the alien could even understand what was happening. The scream that came from Pela was not a sound that belonged on a quiet night. It was high and terrible, full of pain and surprise. It shattered the piece of the house like glass breaking. Baduk's claws found the soft tissue around Pela's eye clusters. His teeth sank into whatever they could reach. The alien stumbled backward, crashing into the desk, knocking toys and books everywhere. His forearms grabbed at the creature on his face, but they could not get a good grip. This was another thing the Velki did not know about honey badgers. Their skin was thick and loose. You could grab a honey badger, but it would simply twist inside its own skin and bite your hand. Many Earth predators had learned this lesson painfully. Now Pela was learning it too. "Get it off!" Pela screamed. "Get it off me!" Tay woke up. For a moment, he did not understand what he was seeing. There was a tall gray creature in his room. It had 4 arms and big black eyes. And Baduk was on its face, biting and clawing like a demon. "Baduk!" Tay yelled. The honey badger did not stop. He never stopped. That was not what honey badgers did. Pela fell backward through the phase-weakened wall, crashing into the yard outside. His device malfunctioned from the impact, sparking and smoking. He rolled on the ground, still trying to remove the small monster that was destroying his face. Rosk ran toward his partner. He could not believe what he was seeing. A tiny earth creature was beating one of his team members. This was not possible. This was not how the mission was supposed to go. He raised his stun weapon and fired at the honey badger. The beam hit Baduk directly in the side. It was enough power to knock out a large human for hours. Baduk stumbled. He fell off Pela's face. He lay still for 1 second. 2 seconds, then he shook himself, turned toward Rosk, and growled. Rosk felt something he had not felt in many years. Fear. "What? What is that thing?" he whispered. Baduk charged. Inside the house, lights turned on. Juan burst out of the family room, a plasma cutter in his hands. It was a tool for cutting metal, but it would work just fine as a weapon. Yuna ran to the communication panel and hit the emergency beacon. The signal went out to the entire colony. Danger at the homestead.nar. I ran to Tay's room and found her brother standing in the broken wall, watching the chaos outside. "Tay, come with me." She grabbed his hand. "But Baduk can take care of himself." "Come on." She pulled him toward the family safe room. It was a small space in the center of the house, with thick walls and a heavy door. Their parents had built it for emergencies. This was definitely an emergency. Outside, Rosk fired his stun weapon again. And again. Each shot hit the honey badger. Each shot should have stopped it. But the creature kept coming, kept attacking, kept refusing to fall. Rosk had studied many dangerous animals in his career. He knew about predators that could kill with one bite. He knew about creatures that could crush bones with their strength. But he had never seen anything like this. This animal did not seem to understand that it was supposed to lose. Pela was crawling away, leaving a trail of blue blood on the ground. 3 of his eye clusters were destroyed. His face was torn. He was making sounds that might have been crying. Dron's voice came through the communicator. "What is happening?" "Pela's life signs are critical." "Rosk, report." Rosk could not report. He was too busy running from a 12-kilogram ball of fury. The honey badger caught him. Baduk hit Rosk in the legs and brought him down like a falling tree. The alien crashed to the ground, and the honey badger climbed up his body, heading for the face, always the face. That was where the soft parts were. That was where damage meant victory. Rosk screamed and covered his eye clusters with his arms. The honey badger simply bit into his arm instead. The alien's skin was tough, but Baduk did not care. His jaws were made for cracking bones and crushing shells. He bit down harder, and Rosk felt something break. Inside the safe room. Tay could hear everything. The screams, the sounds of fighting, his father shouting orders. He wanted to go out there. He wanted to help Baduk, but Nari held him tight and would not let go. "He's my friend," Tay said. His eyes were wet with tears. "I have to help him." Nari looked at her little brother. She was scared too, but she had to be strong. "Baduk doesn't need help," she said. "Listen." They listened. The alien was still screaming. Baduk was still growling. The fight was not over. "See?" Nari almost smiled. "That badger is winning." Outside, Juan moved carefully through the yard with his plasma cutter ready. He saw Pela crawling toward the fence, badly hurt. He saw Rosk rolling on the ground with Baduk attached to his arm. He saw blue alien blood everywhere. A part of him wanted to laugh. He had told Yuna that honey badgers were nature's little psychopaths. He had not expected to be proven so right, but there was no time for laughing. These aliens had come to take his son. They had come into his home. They had threatened his family. Juan's eyes became cold and hard. The old soldier inside him woke up. "Yuna," he called. "Status. Emergency beacon is active." Yuna shouted from the house. "Security will be here in 12 minutes. 12 minutes. That was too long. Anything could happen in 12 minutes. Rosk finally managed to throw Baduk off his arm. The honey badger flew through the air and landed on his feet, because of course he did. Rosk scrambled backward, his arm bleeding badly, his whole body shaking. "Drone!" He screamed into his communicator. "Send the drone. Send everything." In the shuttle, Dron was panicking. The mission had fallen apart completely. Pela was dying. Rosk was under attack. The colony's emergency beacon was screaming for help. Everything was wrong, but he was loyal. He sent the capture drone. The drone was the size of a large ball. It flew fast and quiet, and it had tools for catching and holding targets. It also had a defense system that could shock anything that touched it. Dron sent it straight toward the house. Baduk saw it coming. He did not know what it was, but it was moving toward his territory, toward his humans. That made it an enemy. The honey badger jumped. His timing was perfect. He caught the drone in the air and dragged it down to the ground. The machine tried to fly away, but Baduk held on with his claws and teeth. The drone activated its electrical defense. Blue lightning crackled across its surface, flowing into the honey badger's body. Any normal animal would have let go. Any normal animal would have run away. Baduk was not normal. His body jerked from the electricity. His fur stood up. His muscles tightened. But he did not let go. Instead, he bit down harder. His teeth found a panel on the drone's surface. He ripped it away. Wires came out. The drone sparked and shook. Baduk bit through the wires. The drone died. It fell to the ground, smoking and broken. Baduk stood over it, breathing hard, his body still twitching from the shock. He looked around for more enemies. Rosk stared at the destroyed drone. He stared at the small creature that had destroyed it. His mind could not understand what he was seeing. This animal had taken multiple stun shots. It had been electrocuted. It had fought 2 Valky and a military drone. And it was still standing, still ready to fight. What kind of planet made creatures like this? Rosk! Dron's voice was high with fear. The colony security is coming. We have to leave now. Rosk looked at Pela. His partner was barely moving. There was no way they could carry out the mission now. No way they could even escape with their lives if they stayed. Fall back, Rosk ordered. His voice was weak. Get Pela. We are leaving. But Baduk was between Rosk and Pela. The honey badger stood in the middle of the yard, covered in dirt and blue blood, watching, waiting, daring them to try. Juan walked up beside the honey badger. He pointed his plasma cutter at Rosk. The tool hummed with deadly energy. You came to my home, Juan said calmly. You came to take my son. Rosk raised his hands. We are leaving. We will go. Yes, Juan agreed. You will. But first, you will tell me who sent you. You will tell me why you came here. And you will pray that my son's pet decides to let you live. Baduk growled. It was a low, rumbling sound that seemed too big for such a small animal. Rosk told them everything. The Valky Collective. The slave trade. The rich buyers who wanted human children. He talked fast, because every second that passed, the honey badger seemed to get angrier. Yuna came out of the house with a medical scanner. She looked at Pela, who was now unconscious. This one needs help soon, or he will die. Let him die, Juan said coldly. No, Yuna shook her head. We are not like them. We help those who are hurt, even our enemies. That is what makes us human. Juan looked at his wife for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. She was right. She was always right. Fine. Tie them up. We will let security deal with them. Dron came out of hiding with his hands raised. He had watched everything. He had seen the small earth creature defeat his entire team. He was not going to fight. He was not going to resist. He just wanted to surrender before that monster decided to attack him too. The Valky were captured. The mission was over. And in the middle of the yard, surrounded by broken equipment and beaten aliens, a small honey badger sat down and began to clean his fur. He was very dirty. There was a lot of blue blood in his coat. It would take a long time to get clean, but that was okay. The danger was gone. His humans were safe. That was all that mattered. Tay ran out of the safe room as soon as Nari let him go. He ran straight to Baduk and fell to his knees beside his friend. Baduk. Are you okay? Are you hurt? The honey badger looked up at his boy. He made a soft sound almost like a purr. Then he climbed into Tay's arms and closed his eyes. He was tired. Fighting aliens was hard work. But he would do it again. 1,000 times. 1,000,000 times. For his boy, he would fight anything. The colony security team arrived 11 minutes after Yuna pressed the emergency beacon. They came in 3 vehicles with lights flashing and weapons ready. They expected to find a family in danger. They expected to face unknown attackers. They expected a fight. What they found was very different. 3 aliens sat in the yard, tied up with cables. One of them was badly hurt and needed immediate medical attention. Another had deep bite wounds on his arm and legs. The third looked unharmed but was shaking so badly he could barely sit up straight. Around them, the ground was covered with blue blood, broken equipment, and pieces of a destroyed drone. And in the middle of it all, an 8-year-old boy sat holding a small, furry animal that was calmly licking its paws. The security captain was a woman named Bora. She had been a police officer on Earth before coming to New Bizon. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. What happened here? she asked slowly. Juan pointed at the aliens. They came to kidnap my son. My son's pet stopped them. Bora looked at the honey badger. The honey badger looked back at her with small, dark eyes that showed absolutely no fear. That little thing did all this? That little thing is a honey badger, Juan said. They eat snakes for breakfast and pick fights with lions for fun. These aliens had no idea what they were dealing with. The security team took the aliens into custody. Pela was rushed to the colony's medical center. His injuries were severe. He had lost 3 of his 4 eye clusters. His face would never look the same. The doctors worked hard to save his life, even though he had come to steal a child. That was the human way. Rosk was taken to a holding cell. He did not resist. He did not complain. He just sat in the corner and stared at the wall. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the honey badger coming for him. He would see that for the rest of his life. Drawn answered every question the security team asked. He told them about the Velki Collective. He told them about the slave trade routes. He told them about other worlds that had been targeted. He gave them everything they wanted. When they asked why he was being so helpful, he said only one thing. I want to stay as far away from that planet as possible. If humans keep animals like that as pets, I do not want to know what else they have. The night passed slowly. Medical teams came to check on the family. Investigators came to look at the scene. News reporters came to ask questions. The story of the attack spread across the colony like fire by morning. Everyone on New Bizin knew about the boy, and his honey badger Tay did not understand why so many people wanted to talk to him. He just wanted to sleep. The night had been long and scary, and he was very tired. But his mother said he had to answer some questions first. Tay, can you tell us what happened? A reporter asked. Tay shrugged. The alien came into my room. Baduk jumped on his face. Then there was a lot of screaming. Were you scared? Tay thought about it. A little bit. But Baduk was there. Baduk is always there. He protects me. The honey badger sat beside Tay, watching the reporter with suspicious eyes. The reporter decided not to get too close. Your pet is quite remarkable, the reporter said carefully. He's not remarkable, Tay said. He's just Baduk. He's my friend. The story made headlines across the human colonies within hours. People loved it. A small boy, a strange pet, and a group of alien kidnappers who had made the worst mistake of their lives. It was the kind of story that made people smile, even as it made them angry about the slave traders. But the story did not stop there. It spread beyond human space. The Velki Collective was a large organization with connections to many other species. When their team failed to report back, they sent inquiries. When they learned what had happened, they demanded more information. And when they received a full report, including medical records and security footage, they went very quiet. Other species heard about the incident too. The galactic information networks were always hungry for interesting stories, and this one was very interesting indeed. A 12-kilogram Earth creature had defeated 3 armed Velki operatives and a military drone. It had taken multiple stun shots and electrical shocks without stopping. It had shown no fear, no hesitation, no mercy. The footage was watched millions of times. Analysis was done. Reports were written. And slowly, the galaxy began to understand something that humans had always known. Earth was not a safe place. Back on New Bizin, the family tried to return to normal life. But normal life did not want to return to them. The colonial governor herself came to visit. Her name was Jizu, and she was a serious woman who rarely smiled. But she smiled when she saw Baduk. This is the hero of New Bizin, she said. May I pet him? I would not recommend it, Juan said quickly. He does not like strangers. Governor Jisu looked at the honey badger. The honey badger looked back at her and made a low growling sound. "I see," the governor said. "A wise policy. We should not pet the weapons." She turned to the family. "I want you to know that the colony appreciates what happened here. Not the attack, of course. That was terrible. But the way your family responded, the way your pet responded, it has inspired people. It has reminded them that we are not helpless, that we can defend ourselves, that even on the frontier, we are safe." Yuna frowned. "We did not do anything special. We just protected our home." "Exactly," Governor Jisoo said. "That is what makes it special. You did not wait for help. You did not give up. You fought. Your pet fought. And you won." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small medal. It was shaped like a star, with the colony's symbol in the center. "This is the new Bizung Commendation for Extraordinary Service," she said. "It is usually given to soldiers and rescue workers. But I think just this once we can give it to a honey badger." She held the medal out toward Baduk. The honey badger sniffed it, and turned away with complete disinterest. He did not care about medals. He only cared about his boy. Tay laughed. It was the first time he had laughed since the attack. "Can I keep it for him? He does not wear things." "Of course." Governor Jisoo smiled. The medal went on Tay's shelf, next to his toys and books. Sometimes he looked at it and thought about that terrible night. But mostly, he tried not to think about it at all. Biduk did not think about it either. He had already forgotten the aliens. They were gone. They were no longer a threat. There was no point in remembering things that were gone, but the galaxy would not forget. The galaxy was just beginning to understand what Earth creatures were capable of, and that understanding would change everything. 6 months after the attack on New Bizun, a document appeared in the intelligence databases of 47 spacefaring civilizations. It was marked as high priority and classified as essential reading for anyone planning operations near human space. The document was called Threat Assessment, Terran Wildlife, Emphasis on Companion Species. It was 200 pages long. The section on honey badgers alone was 15 pages. It included diagrams of their bone structure, analysis of their bite force, and a detailed explanation of why their loose skin made them nearly impossible to hold. It included medical reports from Pela, who had survived but would carry scars for the rest of his life. It included psychological evaluations of Rosk, who now had nightmares about small furry mammals. The conclusion of the honey badger section was simple: do not engage, under any circumstances, ever. But the document did not stop there. It went on to describe other Earth creatures that humans kept as pets. Dogs that could track scents for hundreds of kilometers. Cats that could see in near total darkness. Birds that could mimic voices and sounds. Horses that could run for hours without stopping. And more. So many more. The final section of the document asked a question that would echo through the galaxy for years to come. If these are the creatures that humans keep as companions, what did they have to defeat to reach the top of their food chain? No one wanted to know the answer. The Vulki Collective responded to the New Bizun incident quickly. They held an emergency meeting of their highest leaders. The topic was simple. Should they continue targeting human colonies? High Collector Gall led the meeting. He was old and wise, and he had built the collective into one of the most powerful trading organizations in the sector. He had never been afraid of any species. He was afraid now. "We have reviewed all available information," he said to the gathered leaders. The creature that attacked our team was not unique. It was not specially trained. It was a common pet, given to a child as a gift. The humans did not even consider it unusual. The room was silent. Furthermore, Gall continued, Our research shows that this species, the honey badger, is not even among the most dangerous pets that humans keep. They also bond with large predatory canines, semi-wild cats, and various birds of prey. They swim with sharks. They feed wild bears. They invite venomous snakes into their homes. One of the younger leaders raised a hand. Surely not all humans are like this. No, Gall agreed. Not all, but enough. And the problem is, we cannot tell which ones are which until it is too late. The vote was unanimous. Human colonies were added to the Velki Collective's exclusion list. No more raids. No more kidnappings. No more contact of any kind. The official reason listed in the Collective's records was not human military power. It was not their technology or their weapons. The reason was listed as uncontrollable native fauna. In simpler words, their pets are too scary. News of the Velki decision spread quickly. Other organizations took notice. Slave traders avoided human space. Pirates chose other targets. Even legitimate traders became more careful, more respectful. The humans did not fully understand why. They just noticed that aliens seemed nervous around them now. That negotiations went more smoothly. That threats happened less often. Some humans figured it out eventually. They laughed about it. They made jokes. They started bringing their pets to diplomatic meetings, just to watch the aliens twitch. On New Bizon, life went on. Tay grew taller. He started school. He made friends. He learned to read better and do mathematics. He still played in the orange fields near his home, and Baduk still followed him everywhere. The honey badger grew a little older too, but he did not slow down. He still chased snakes. He still dug holes. He still watched the windows at night, ready for threats that never came again. Juan made one small change to the house after the attack. He installed a pet door so Baduk could come and go freely. The security system was programmed to recognize the honey badger and let him pass. Now, if danger ever came again, Baduk would not have to wait to defend his family. Yuna worried about this at first. What if he wanders off? What if he gets lost? Juan just shook his head. That animal will never leave Tay. We both know that. He was right. Baduk never wandered far. He patrolled the area around the house, marking his territory and watching for threats. But he always came back. He always curled up at the foot of Tay's bed. He always kept one eye open, watching the shadows. Nari went off to university on another colony when she turned 18. She studied xenobiology, the science of alien life. She often thought about that night when aliens came to her home. She often thought about how a small Earth creature had defeated them. Humans are strange, her alien classmates would say. You share your lives with predators. Nari would just smile. They're not predators. They're family. The story of New Bizan became famous over the years. It was taught in schools as an example of human resilience. It was studied by military analysts as an example of unconventional defense. It was told in bars and trading posts as a warning. Never mess with a human's pet. But for Tay, it was just a memory. A scary night that ended well. A reminder that no matter what dangers existed in the universe, he had a friend who would fight for him. On Tay's 18th birthday, he was officially an adult. He had grown into a tall, kind young man who planned to study engineering like his father. His family gathered for a celebration. There was food and cake and presents and laughter. Baduk was there too, of course. He was old now, his fur more gray than before, his movements a little slower. But his eyes were still sharp. His teeth were still strong. He still slept at the foot of Tay's bed every night. When the party ended and the guests went home, Tay sat alone with his old friend. The orange sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful colors. Tay looked at Baduk and felt tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he said softly. For everything? For protecting me. For being my friend. For never giving up. Baduk looked at his human. He did not understand the words, but he understood the feeling behind them. He climbed into Tay's lap, just like he had done when they were both young, and closed his eyes. He was tired. He had lived a long life for a honey badger. He had fought snakes and drones and aliens. He had protected his boy from everything the universe had thrown at them. And now, with the sun setting and the world at peace, he rested. The galaxy had learned to fear the small creatures of Earth. They had learned that humans did not just survive their dangerous world, they made friends with its monsters. They had learned that those monsters would fight to the death for the humans they loved, but Baduk did not care about the galaxy. He did not care about fear or reputation or politics. He cared about treats and warm beds and the boy who had given him a home. That was enough. That had always been enough. In the end, that was the lesson the galaxy never quite understood. The honey badger was not dangerous because it was mean or violent or bloodthirsty. It was dangerous because it loved. And for the things it loved, it would never, ever stop fighting. Humans were the same way. That was why they got along so well. And that was why, in a universe full of terrors, the small boy from New Bizon had never been truly alone. He had Baduk, and Baduk had him. Always.